We've already knocked off the first item on the agenda.
We could.
Was that in New York?
What is the
so-
agenda? I do not.
Was that published?
We were gonna talk about
No, electric again,
ACP, the
Yeah,
electricity.
ACP.
and,
Oh.
Couldn't make it
but
last minute, she's stuck in.
stuck in New York, so.
That's fine, but we can piggyback on that just real quick with, the intent will be is to hopefully have this guy, if, we all buy into what he's selling, is to have him do some type of assessment of our AC pipe in the system, and then we can utilize that to prepare a PER and then apply for a WIA grant. I'm gonna keep hammering this drum of now that they switched it so we can apply annually for WIA instead of once every 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, get into the WIA program. It's money just waiting to be utilized. The Water Infrastructure Improvement Act. So it's the same thing that we had for the booster station, but at that time when we got it, the rules were you had to wait 5 years to apply again, but they did away with that in that last round of WIA, so now you can go every year. So in which case, replacing existing water mains is, fits exactly what that program is for, so.
Seems like a smart thing to do, help us make our decisions, educated decisions.
Did you guys have to look at that one, Cal?
I looked at it.
Yeah.
So,
I get it, but I don't quite
It's-
get it.
Some of the physics behind it is what you're like, huh?
Huh, that's what I sound like, oh, okay. I like how it looks like a balloon going down the pipe, I'm like, okay.
it's like finding leaks.
Sort of like it's situ.
Liner in a
It's a-
pool.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a situ form for relining surface.
I showed it to my son, he got it for
Okay.
me. He's an engineering student,
I
so.
was like, so we'll see how that, I mean, I'm really curious to know how much data will get pulled out doing that. I'm just curious how much it's gonna cost to do all that. Since we have a lot of pipe.
Interesting also to find out what their history is, what, do they had success with it, The point is if somebody's done it for it.
Yeah, and we can go. Yeah, it'd be nice if we could, they give us a town or city for reference, and we can go talk to them about their experience.
Yeah.
Or not go, but
Well,
set up a video and go.
And you said it's like 50% of our piping.
Yeah, about 50 miles, so roughly 50% of our town has ECP in it, so. It's not a bad pipe, just it,
Has different properties
Yeah,
than
yeah.
than most other pipes.
and
Nothing
you know,
lasts
as
forever.
Terry's mentioned before, like the characteristics of our clay soils.
Yeah.
React with
Mhm.
the cement, so. I don't know,
we'll find out.
find out,
Alright, so let's move on to transfer station planning. We approved this proposal from MRB at our last meeting, and you must have it completely now.
I thought that's.
No, but I do believe the survey's done.
Yeah, survey's done.
And then Gene Chrisman just got us the abstract, so that's going to those guys, to the surveyors. They'll finish the boundary, and then we'll at least be able to have a base map to kind of start looking at.
Is that a separate lot?
It is.
It
Let
is.
me, sorry, I'm,
Can you send me a copy of that agreement? I didn't get it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
MRV?
I probably have a PDF of it I can send you.
yeah, go just email me.
Yeah, it's in the, well, you have to dig through it, it's in the agenda for the last town board meeting, but it's buried about 250 pages. Actual, easier to have instead of clean copy.
Yeah.
One of the things, what are you pulling up some of the,
yeah, there we go, this is,
Yeah, that's the most recent rendition from Al.
Yeah.
question I had is, we've been talking about expanding the hours of operation also of the facility. Going to, this type of operation with a drive-through and all that. We may find we have to expand the hours, we don't know yet, but one of the advantages we have, traffic flow right now is that, except for like plowing in the winter, the transfer station out here is open when all the gym people are working here. If we use a design like this where people pull in front of the town hall and then cross over and into the facility, it gives us a nice one queue line. But if we expand the hours to go during the daytime, it might present a problem with traffic in and out of the town hall. I just wanted to bring that up as a thought I
You
had.
mean
with
Jim's traffic or general traffic?
just traffic in the town hall, because you won't be
Town
coming
hall,
onto,
town court.
you won't be coming onto the highway section of the campus here at all anymore with this.
Yeah.
But the idea was to come in the main entrance to town hall and the highway complex, take it right there and then go across that those black lines going over the red building over to the right would be the drive-through facility, so.
And I-
Couple of thoughts, well, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Doug also talked about expanding the parking area potentially as part of this for the town hall.
Well, this avoids having to ask the state for another curb cut, which has its
Yeah.
advantages.
Oh, yeah.
But it could complicate traffic patterns in here, it's something we have to deal with.
I think it would complicate a little bit. I think, first of all, I think your main concentration is on the weekend, that's your biggest. So even if you extend the hours during the week, I think you'll have an increased count, but nothing like if it was like the weekend. The other thing is with this queue line, I think there's not gonna be a lot of congestion up there. It'll be traffic, but it ain't gonna be backed up congestion.
No,
Because we got a nice long queue line on it.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about just the traffic. in and
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
if you're going in and out over the main entrance to the whole facility
Yeah,
here, so.
yeah.
Yeah, you might have to look at doing some improvements to that section of the road. The other thing I would say is like, instead of taking your line and coming across on a diagonal, you might want to cheat that north and then make it maybe a little bit harder to turn. Not too hard, but I mean, a little bit harder to turn and kind of swing yourself over, just so that you reserve more space. Just because it's all available for the town to, like, if they wanted to go to town court or whatever, instead of eating up that whole lot.
Yeah, and that's the kind of detail you need to develop, because that's just a rough
Yeah.
concept,
Yeah,
And like I
but
said,
but I like the idea of the long queue line. I mean, you're gonna give yourself plenty of opportunities for cars to stack, so I don't think it'll push back through those areas, but where you're gonna have all this traffic, you're probably gonna want to improve the surface, the quality of the pavement to handle all the additional load.
Well,
I think. Go ahead.
I was thinking it also might wanna have, I don't believe we have any official turning lanes coming in and off of 5 and 20, do we? People use it like a turning lane.
Yeah, no, not official, not here, no. It's
Well, no, I mean the main, our
Shoulder.
main entrance.
what do you mean like a deceleration lane coming in?
Yeah,
I don't know if they'll approve that, the DOH or DOT.
It's a pretty wide shoulder.
It is. I
it
think
is, and people usually use it. but-
Yeah, I just don't, they don't have to be.
As far as left turn.
Sunshine,
Yeah,
Anytime
Airline
you touch 5 and
mentioned,
20.
you could then make this, if you make this bigger, you could then put some curvy here
Mm-hmm.
to delineate the parking lot and put a stop sign here, people coming out to look. And continue this as a road going out or a long driveway. One thing I was thinking here is someplace we probably have to have something wide enough to get around if a vehicle was disabled, if there was a fire, if there was a medical emergency. And we have to think about moving traffic around that way. Maybe this becomes a secondary entrance for emergency access. That's a possibility. I'm not sure I mentioned before, like this is as far east we can go on 5 and 20. We can't touch this.
Yeah.
So this is okay through here, but this is not.
You could also connect the two routes with a, emergency turnaround thing or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can create some internal circulation. I think that would be good.
just bring it up, so that's all.
Right by your red arrow there.
And I don't know, I understand Al's thought about the two buildings. I just don't know how that's gonna work. If we have. We're gonna have to potentially more staff at the buildings, it's less, instead of being just one building that's continuous, but I don't know, I'm just talking out loud, I don't know if that's gonna happen. But it's possible.
Well, one of the things we talk about is kind of, this is almost, I'd almost call it kind of automated, because the people have to use the weight bench, so you may be able to reduce here and use over there,
It's possible, what do you guys think of Al's thought here on that first building that you pull in?
It's similar to the Victor building, right, for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just we don't, you're just doubling it up, right?
Right.
Well, similar to what we saw in Manchester. The only concern I have is that what you see out there now, getting from that to this, gonna be a lot of heartache.
Education.
I mean, it works in Manchester, it works in Victor, it should work here. It's just that, you see these people coming in with massive amounts of save up stuff for, well, I don't know,
Right.
truckload, it's mounted up 8 feet high and it's 50
Yeah,
bags
yeah.
in there and they're talking, it's not gonna be 1 minute in and out. I mean, some people will be, probably the majority of people, but, it's that the wear and tear on our people is gonna be more than perhaps what it is now, because it's gonna be fairly continuous, whereas, right now, it's, with all those lanes there, they can kind of mosey over and that.
But that's a big-
Have to be
We're
right.
not-
big decision we gotta make is one of the reasons of the system is to try to cut down on trash and maybe increase environmental, and so you're right, it's gonna take longer to do this than go over there and just throw your things in there, that's kind of a gut decision we gotta make. whether to
Well,
go that way.
It works for these other people, it works for us. I mean, we're actually doubling up, so I mean, it should be improvement over what we've seen at these other places.
I'm probably guilty of saving up and making big trips too, but I may have to bend my way,
Well,
I don't need to wait, 4 weeks.
Are we talking about people not touching their own trash at all then, just having the staff do it?
well, you drive in and we have people there, somebody on each side that, taking recycling goes in one bin and
I think that's the
the
biggest
municipal waste goes in another. That's what they do in Manchester.
Yeah, but doesn't
They swear-
the individual do it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, the individual gets upset.
That's what I was thinking, that's why.
They're will help assist, but I think the individual's gotta get out.
That's why I'm like,
Yeah,
that, I
that's
mean,
what they do.
that
They
really.
take the card
does.
from the individual, put the card in, then the people take the stuff out. That's what they told us when we were over there. It's not the individual getting out and doing it.
Well, I thought it
People
was,
they have working there.
we'd have to take it,
They're the ones
but I thought it was the individual.
I thought it was the individual too.
That's what my question was.
Yeah,
I
they put the
mean,
card.
I would be really concerned about our staff, that's a huge increase in the wear and tear on their bodies, literally doing that for what I do now.
I would make people get out, we would assist them, but they should get out and
Yeah.
help them local.
Swipe their
Wow,
card,
that's-
swipe their card, throw it in the
That's
hopper.
the decision you have.
Yeah,
I think we would still.
But you're
offer
gonna,
that.
people are gonna have to get out, dump the trash, get in the car and get out of there.
Right,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not what happens now. People stand over there talking to people.
right.
It's a different culture,
I know.
something like this.
Yeah, this will be like more like a, more like a Ford assembly line, right? So people just, they'll eventually migrate.
dog biscuits will still be exchanged.
That's the reason for that bypass, is because we don't want people who don't really need to be here to come through that building, so.
Right,
Well,
so
people
they're
like
just
construction.
crush.
Brush or they just have some scrap metal they wanna get rid of,
Should I go back, where's the bypass for that? Cause this is the
To the
first
left.
building, the red building there is what we're talking about? Oh, I see, okay, so
Station
you go
one,
over
so-
there, and station 2 is.
So what we were just looking at was station 1.
Yes, okay,
There's station 2, which, just a rough
Okay.
concept of. And we talk, have a scale. For now, we, just say, oh, well, I'll take 3 coupons. or something,
Right.
oh, we don't wait for the.
Scrap metal, you-
chairs and stuff?
Or it's free.
Not
because
scrap
we-
metal, so we get 10 cents a
Yeah, you
pound,
get-
we take,
But if
like
someone's
what-
running like a recliner out or something?
no, we just do it by the coupons, we have those scales.
There's a table that shows, for chair, sofa, whatever, number of coupons you have to have. for it.
Keep on, took like an average weight of a recliner, what it would cost to get rid of it. Whether it's within a range of. We're never in the red this year. We're always in the black, so we're doing, we're not like we're making a lot of money, it's just, we're not also
That
not
cost is.
bleeding.
Yeah, it's right where you wanna be.
So that's,
So anyway, you got the survey is done, and once you get all the property definition and all that, what do you see for,
Then we'll start, we'll start doing some onion skins of probably starting with Al's layout and then tweaking it and then trying to put a little bit more definition to it.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what the topo shows, because that, you go off that bank back there, it whoop, up,
Steep.
and then it goes back up. So and if we want to use gravity to facilitate, make it easier to load and unload containers and roll offs and all, yeah, that's a part piece.
Yeah, that red building is gonna be elevated. It's gonna come off.
What's
Oh, it's
the,
gotta be, yeah.
what's station 3?
It's
Yeah.
basically, the only thing we're gonna have resource wise is, where they can bring in the brush and then they get the
mulch
mulch.
brush?
That's an issue we had here because people thought it was a supermarket and they go take stone and
Yeah,
salt and, so we're trying to, the only thing we're gonna handle, and this could feasibly, it's all based on what you look at on the ground, this could feasibly go on that side,
Yeah.
Right.
Just depends on, really the survey work, and the nitty gritty work of it, but I just kind of show it, kind of in the center, but it could possibly go over there too.
Yeah, we gotta look at, figure out where we can put, stormwater,
Yeah.
where we can, how we're gonna connect into the utilities for these buildings.
why are we not doing, like, why isn't it not flipped? Because I think the majority of people would be doing trash and recycling and fewer people would be doing mulch and, construction debris. So I almost feel like you could do a shorter loop that was the station 1 and then put station 2 and 3 on the
But I
long
think
loop.
what Al was concerned about, it'll push the queue back closer to town hall.
Yeah, you want the
Because
long
you
Okay.
got that
line,
long queue.
you want the long queue line for the main,
Okay,
for the main building.
all right.
You have to remember also that back in our original design, when we first started looking at this whole campus, we talked about a courthouse building,
Yeah.
east of town hall. So we want to make sure we reserve space. for
Yeah,
where
and that using more of the diagonal approach would allow this space there,
Okay.
But you're not talking about paved roads anyway, they could be easily modified.
It's a start,
You will need a secondary road system for pulling your roll-offs and
yeah.
moving them in and out
Right.
inside the.
Yeah, cause your
infield
overhead doors
areas.
are all gonna be outsides,
Right.
the east and west side of
There'll
the
be a concrete
building.
slab underneath all of them to support
Yeah.
all the stuff, so.
And maybe you'll want the trucks, well, to use that secondary access for pulling cans, right? Well, it's up to you.
It's a start to have a discussion and see what we.
But let's see what the topo, I think that's gonna be,
Yeah,
that's
well,
gonna
like I
give us
said,
an idea where we.
we can start throwing, road, we can throw, roads or driveways or whatever, we can look at some internal circulation. We'll start, we'll put together a concept.
You water line down there?
Yeah, we do, actually, the water main runs right along that existing stone drive.
We'll probably need a hydrant.
Yeah,
In
we
case somebody
can
gets started.
tap off that, put a hydrant out there,
Okay.
sewers to the north.
The key thing is what you already hit on is, setting up a good drainage system to basically kind of mask off this area so it stays nice and green there.
I want to make sure it's not going in there. Isn't there a stream a little bit to this east of it?
There's a ditch that runs through
There's
there,
a dish that was there,
and there's to the north is a well. Eventually it all makes separate, but
Yeah, that's my only, as an ECB facilitator, that's my.
most of the town does, yeah.
Well, I mean, we obviously have to
Be careful with
uh,
that.
take care of our stormwater from the facility before it's discharged anywhere, so.
You might need a landscape buffer along 5 and 20 there.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's where the traffic is sitting. It is close to it. No, well, that's good. I like Al's concept, the idea of having an infield area concentrated in all one area, and the bypass.
what's the start point? We
Right.
got-
Oh, yeah,
got a
yeah.
Mhm.
good outfit to
See how,
bring it along. a
see how
little
the
bit.
grades work.
Okay. Move along to, update on our water analysis of the north end of town. That was another, you might want to send, this one also very to Alan. Got the, uptown water study proposal we accepted at the last meeting. That's underway now.
Yep. Yeah, we've reached out to Robin and to Jim to establish monitoring locations for the telog units, which are the pressure transducers put out in the field. And we've also identified a number of locations for some fire hydrant testing. So I think the plan is to try to tackle the majority of that on Monday.
yeah.
So we're gonna send a guy, town's gonna have some guys. So we'll be flowing some hydrants and we'll take that data and we'll circle back with the model, update it,
What area are you saying?
the uptown area.
Just the form-based code area, or?
No, so there was also a map that was kind of prepared that kind of highlighted some areas for uptown development. And so we use that map as the basis for where we want to, have some hydrant flow tests. So it's not just, that form-based code area, but there are some other areas in and around uptown.
So we have 6 of the blue dots that are out right now. There's gonna be 4 more by MRB going out today or Monday, so.
What's a blue dot?
That's on a fire hydrant, it's telling us the pressure right now in the system.
So
So when we
strategically,
start running fire flow tests, that will monitor the pressure in the system. So Derek from MRB can run his model off the data to determine for us the size of the tank and water main or whatever is needed for the, we'll call it uptown area, so that when we do construct the tank, it's of the correct size and that it's at the right elevation for the right pressures.
What kind of pressures we get up there now?
It's like 128 down here, Al. That's what it's at.
yeah, that's where it steps, and that's the break into zone 2. So basically we're positioning the telog
It's
units.
just one yesterday, it's 130, 128.
Yeah.
We're positioning them on the inlet to zone 1 and then the outlet to zone 2. So that way we can see what's going into that zone and out of that zone, and how it all responds.
It's about 83, so it picks up, it's all downhill from there.
Is this covering the same area is this covering active and the whole
Mhm.
area? that we're presenting?
Yep.
You're getting 115 new dwelling units at Yorkies and Brickyard at Center Point. That's up for final approval.
Yep.
Yeah, is that
That
where
was-
the old apartments were, like the
Yeah.
section right here?
That was
right
on-
there.
That was on the map.
Okay.
So I think there's a hydrant test in the vicinity of that area.
And then we also talked about the potential of the mobile home park expanding, we are including that. Don't know what's going on with Airport Road and development out there, but we also consider that.
The expansion of the mobile home park up there, was that accounted for in the plan that you guys put together for
The original one?
the one that we kind of said aside for the moment.
Oh, for the original layout, of the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, so when we designed the tank, the tank was actually designed with some future growth metrics based off of, all the different population growth metrics that we've used in past studies, so. It wasn't specifically considered, but it's, I guess it's part of the background
Generally
development
considered.
that would be considered for growth for zone one.
Some of those growth numbers, though, that come from what is the
Genesee
density
Finger Lakes.
Finger Lakes,
Yeah.
those numbers are very conservative.
Sometimes they're conservative, sometimes they've been not
Well, I mean, the
conservative
growth
enough.
that we've seen in this area.
Right, and that's
That's
why, if you look at the sewer master plan, and I think the water master plan has some slightly different growth metrics that is based off of some of the building permits, the history of building permits for the town, so.
everything that's found in this study that's going in now, will be used to incorporate into that
Mhm.
plan when we revisit it. At some
Right.
point, we're gonna have to,
Right.
know that. So,
When we met with Pat, then water didn't really seem to be an issue as far as. That's actually the least of their concerns on when it comes to cost of utilities.
People, it was a concern.
People was a huge problem.
Just can't get enough people to staff the facility.
Did Farmington award the tank contract?
No,
No,
No.
they can't.
because the town board, our town board said.
You
no.
didn't
They
agree to
can't,
it.
Chuck,
Oh, okay.
because the bond the bond authorization sets the maximum project cost. That's part of the bond resolution.
Okay.
They couldn't update that bond resolution for the increased cost without both towns passing it to a to-be resolution. So they were not able to make awards.
Farmington passed it, we said, no.
Yeah,
We had a lot of questions about the plan.
Yeah, legitimate questions, but that I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I thought eventually said it didn't.
Eventually. Eventually, we need to,
Yeah, we'll need to pass that, and then we'll need to do, we'll have to change the project a little bit, and then we're gonna.
there is somewhat of a time constraint on it because Farmington had $3.5 million in the weed.
Yeah, 3.6, it's the IMG, it's international.
Okay.
Yeah, not the-
But that has that's metered running on,
Yeah, I think it's gotta get spent by 24.
Right.
So,
but you've also said that if you're in process of doing it,
yeah, if we rebid, we have a contract, it's similar to like kind of a WIA where you get a big chunk of the money up front. So if they give you half of it up front, I
Yeah.
can't see them like pulling away the other half. I would assume they would
So
at
excuse the expression,
least give us
how
an
you gonna
extension
water
to
it down?
finish.
you're
How you
taking
gonna
How
away
you gonna water down the contract?
What do you
Taking away from, taking away from the goal. It's awful, you know?
Right.
Are you gonna work on the distribution system or maybe reduce the amount?
No, my thoughts are, Chuck, really is I wanna change the contract limits, because the tank guys and their site contractors gave them some pretty outrageous numbers, so, and then
Yeah,
I think timing of bidding the pipeline contract, if I did that like a week before the tank, then maybe they'll know who the GC is gonna be for the pipeline work, and maybe they'll be able to use those guys to do their site component. It's just, it was one of those things where it's hard for, none of those large firms wanna work for the tank guys because their scope of work is relatively small and, you're subject to their pay requirements. But they would probably do the site work if they were the prime for the other part of the work, right? So just trying to do something like along those lines to kind of make it a little more streamlined, make it easier for the less things I have to tank, less balls the tank guy has to juggle, I think it'd be easier.
good luck.
Nothing set in stone, guys, it's just
What do you see for timing in this?
for the uptown, my hope was to be done in June.
We write that down.
I'm writing it down right now.
As Jim knows, there's one guy that I'm hounding on.
I hound them too.
So that you have, they were real-time readings you have at the height.
This reads, well, I only have it set for once a day right now,
Yeah.
because if we do it every hour, it keeps the batteries up quicker.
Okay.
Okay, but like, so every day at 2:30 in the afternoon, it will reread. Now, I can go out and we call toggle it or force it to read. I can go out,
Manual read, yeah.
I can go to the phone app and tell it to read.
Cool.
So,
Say go directly to like a computer or do you have a
It's-
phone receiver?
Cloud.
no, it's on the cloud. So MRB has access through our account to use our data to get it in, so they can see it all. So
How many do we vote?
we have 6 of them. out.
6 of them.
Yeah,
Now, right, yeah.
yeah, we have 6 of them
I
right now.
remember when it came through the committee.
So,
And how many do we have, Jim? We have like another 5.
yeah, MRB has 4 or 5, so we'll have like 9 or 10 of them out in the field here shortly. Yeah, they work
And they
nice
should be at what ideally
for,
for pressure?
that's up to the tank elevation and how full the tank is at the time. And potentially the demand during the day, you'll see. Like I know that the north of the town, when people are all at the same time, you can notice a big difference in pressure, but as the day goes on, it comes back up. So,
So are you saying heavier use at like 6 p.m. or like
6
10 a.m.?
well, I'll let you know in like a week, we'll see what kind of, what kind of going on, but, when we get to the town line road, there's a pressure reducing ball here. Because it's running down, I know north sounds up, it's actually running downhill,
Yeah.
the grade is. So there's a pressure reducing ball here, and it knocks the pressure down, I'll say to 70 before it continues into Farmington from 128.
It's about 100 feet of hydraulic grade that cuts off. Zone 2 is 100 foot lower than zone 1.
And higher is not necessarily better. Obviously, you don't want it too low, but you don't want it too high either.
Well, zone 2 can't write off of zone 1 pressure because you'd be, well over, you'd be in the 180 pounds,
Okay.
200 pound range, Biggest of the topography going across zone 1 before you catch zone 3.
So like zone 1 is basically town line
Yeah.
road south. And then there's zone 2, then there's zone 3. So,
Zone 1 is basically our part.
yeah, zone 1 is the top end of that one. So, yes. So we'll monitor it. I think he wants to do it for probably a month, but it'll be interesting to see the very ends of our water district, what occurs during the fire flows. And he'll put that data together and come up with a plan for going forward with what has been done on Brickyard Road for a tank.
When we were talking to people active, brought up that topic of the fire flows, they have to test every week. And demand is, 6,000 gallons a minute or something.
Yeah.
We asked them if that's really necessary, that, well, their insurance carrier insisted they do it, and they have some third-party auditor that comes in and looks at their data and watches them test occasionally. We asked if they could lower that, but even if they did, it's not gonna really impact
Yeah, I mean,
the system that much. I mean, the overall.
right, so I mean, it'll help with maybe buffering some of the major pressure fluctuations, specifically on those Wednesdays. But the fire flow demand for Pactiv at 6,000, you go to the next industry that's in that zone 1. I mean, you're talking about, probably a 5,000 or 4,500 gallon a minute, flow that's needed. So, could you potentially see a reduction in the size of the tank? Possibly, because a large portion of that tank is fire storage. So, but you're not talking about you're not gonna go from 2 million to 1 million. It's not that,
No.
It was interesting, the biggest issue they face over there is getting enough people in the door to work. Last year, I think you said they had an authorized headcount factory of 525 people. They have 470 right now. So last year, they had a 300 person turnover.
Oh,
Still getting calls.
They said people would come in and work for a couple of weeks, get a couple of paychecks, be able to pay off whatever next bill they had on their list. They go,
No kidding.
Yeah,
there's just no, I said, we just can't get, they're offering $5,000 signing bonus.
Tough to operate that
We
way.
had to stay for 90 days. And he said, even with that,
Still can't get people.
he said they're down right now, their turnover rate is about running around 10% year to date. This was yesterday.
They said the same thing, though, we went through with the economic development plan, like 2017, I think it was, and they were
Just
saying
can't get
very
people.
similar thing. It's.
They
it's-
pay rate is
it's-
not that bad, I mean, for the
No.
type of work.
so,
They're only utilizing about 2/3 of the facility right
Yeah.
now. They have
Yeah.
a lot of their forming equipment is just sitting idle because they don't have the people. So we're starting to, he said, we've adapted a new plan where we've got people that are willing to work maybe 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So we're trying to take Joe and
Mhm.
Betty and
John
pick them up
Schneider,
on a
yeah.
To get 5 days.
shift, you know.
well, yeah, at least get production. you
Right.
know, They might be 5 days a week.
He said it's a really strange environment that we're in now.
Yeah.
It's just gotten worse over time over the past few years, so.
Besides, when you get somebody working part-time, you don't have to pay for healthcare and all those
Right.
expenses.
True.
It's just getting them in the door. Well, getting them in the door and then getting them to stay.
Mhm.
Yeah. It wasn't on the agenda, but like, we didn't really talk about it at the last meeting about drainage over on Astor Place, which is next to Ferris Hills off of Free Mill Cheshire Road and County Road 16. Aisha, who lives here, I think it's Aisha,
What's that one?
this one right here.
Okay.
So we've talked a number of times on the phone. She's really adamant about the drainage from here that comes through here, Chuck, that comes through pool and down. I've seen it,
I see it go between the other two houses.
I've seen it come
Yeah.
through here
That one
quite a bit.
was on our
But this here is
Strange committee.
more of a asset for the town because we get like the doesn't happen every year, but probably every 3 years. We get a thaw and freeze that comes through here,
Mhm.
and these are not designed large enough to catch basins, the piping to convey this water underground. So it runs across and it freezes.
Might
Aisha,
not
But
road
it's,
surface.
but it's 4870 is the one that's. called.
Yeah,
Gosh.
there's like a little, you gotta go out there and see, there's like a little quasi swale here. They've tried to work on together to fix it, but everybody says it comes from here.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm sure it does, it probably she's flows
Oh,
down
yeah,
here, I mean,
right.
it's, and then somehow it gets concentrated somewhere, I don't know, over time in that wooded area, it's created a head cut of a ditch, we'll say, that once was there and it's gotten deeper and now it's caused it to concentrate to
You
focus
got
on.
a slight V in there.
Which
Yeah.
way is it plowed on that field there?
This is all
Plowed north,
grass,
south, oh, it's just grass.
this is all grass, this is all trees. So, no, Markov takes the grass off here a couple times a year, that's it.
Okay, I thought I was,
But other than that, but as I told her, I go, there's nothing the town can do, because this is all private. No drainage district. Nothing's
No
changed up
easements.
here.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but that's where it continues to.
But you do have catch basin in the center of the cul-de-sac, right?
We have a fire hydrant, we have catch basins around the outside. Chuck.
Okay, well, it's in the cul-de-sac, okay,
Yeah.
because there was talk about running, I mean, drainage committee, we talked about running between 4874 and 4875.
Yeah.
Up through there, getting an easement and running it to the back, putting the head wall in and try to divert, get that water into that head wall. But then you've got a problem downhill too on Bedford, right? That just got a pipe that's too
yeah,
small.
where's it going?
Well, the only, I don't want to say it's the only, I see potentially two options, but I don't know if either one's acceptable because they're not going to drain on the property. You could divert potentially part of it to this swale right here, which goes to this pond. And, or you could divert it this way and bring it down to this pond. But either way, your ponds are not that size for this drainage coming off
Right.
this land. And you're talking about disturbing a boatload of area that's not disturbed now.
Who owns that property to the west?
This one,
No, the one behind.
this is Peter Powell, Sal.
Is that up for sale still? Was
That's-
that,
Oh, Sal Pitty, I'm sorry.
that was up for sale for a while.
No, actually,
I think it's the northern one.
yeah, I think it's this one here, that's Van Hissing.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, that's Debbie.
South Country Palace on the house down there.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I wonder if Sal bought this, because this here's where,
It's the new house.
yes, the house that Kevin just built. I wonder if Sal bought this.
Well, cause
from
he
Van
lives right
Hissing.
on the end of Bedford there,
Sal Pitty,
the Peach Palace.
or Peter Powell, yes, it does. Yeah, there's a whole nother discussion
Pitty's
about.
down south, or down south of there.
And then this here is owned by the Warrens.
Well, what's really our obligation or ability to do anything?
There's nothing, there is no obligation for the town to do anything. It's,
Is it a new problem? Cause that house has been
No,
there
that's
for 20 years.
yeah,
I know she's a recent purchaser.
And the history of that cul-de-sac, again, I think it was, the original subdivision got changed,
Mhm.
and the house at 4872 was sort of, that lot was stuck
Yeah, it
in.
was kind of added in at the end.
The
This
flag-
one.
Flag lot,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, this one here was like a,
that was not part of the
No.
original.
no, and the problem is right through here where it comes down. You can't see it here, but if you go out there, you can kind of see where water travels through here, which,
I wonder if it used the sheet flow and there's a dip in that driveway, that's what's kind of concentrating it.
Mhm.
you know, but I don't see the town getting them. I don't see why the town gets involved with this drainage issue here, because I just don't know what you do with it, or if anything.
Well, other than when they developed that property up above, or I know with Warner's property, when Rocco was in trying to get that thing developed, they're saying, could they solve the problem then? And we looked at it, we said, well, you have to go on to the other property to collect the water, so
Yeah.
sort of made doing it on the Warner's property tough.
Yeah, and they're not gonna be all excited about that.
Well, I don't even know where they are with that whole property.
Well, the Warner's are trying to sell the whole operation.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
think
good.
they've given up.
13 million, they'll give us the truck.
Give them six.
Well, they got like
Ooh.
they got like 1,500 acres of land, the Warners
The
own.
Warners.
Yeah. So. But, so in a sense, I'm getting the feeling that the committee's like, yeah, there's a problem, but there's not much the town can do. Cause there's nothing that's gone on above
No.
Bedford in years that is causing this issue downstream for these people.
And grade wise, could you get it to Ferris Hills? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't think you can get a.
Well, there isn't anybody that's actually concentrating the water flow to create a
No.
problem for a neighbor. I mean, it's just nature.
No,
So, I mean, if it was one person that has done some alteration to the property to channel the flow and direct it on the other person's property, then the town could get involved from a code standpoint, as I understand it, but
right,
that's not the case. It's just
Correct.
somebody, people shouldn't help. Yeah.
you know, Terry, that might be, but the thing, I just don't see where we're gonna,
No, nothing we can do.
and I
Yeah,
doubt
well,
Ferris Hills wants
When
it.
that subdivision went in, they should have reserved some space in the backyards to cut off.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the swales to really direct.
Oh, they should have
water
ran
around.
a collection pipe
Yeah.
somewhere what we're talking about, up between the properties,
Right.
pick that water up.
When did that actually start?
Bedford
Ashland
Drive.
Right,
Place.
right on nine.
Must have been, was it
That's
the
in high
90s?
school. That's right on nine.
That whole DAGR thing is dead, right, Chuck? That's totally-
Right now, yeah, the last we saw was they were like 3-4 acre lots, they're gonna put 9 in back there.
So people are complaining about drainage, people down on County Road 16 were complaining about drainage too, weren't they?
I've
Yeah.
driven down
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
sometimes,
that
like,
was,
would you get like a big
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
snow
behind-
mountain, like, there's a river that runs.
There
There
down
were-
were, is the lawyer, Bailey,
Oh, Mewing.
Mewing
Mewing,
Brain.
Mewing.
Yeah, he had a landscaper, the guy was putting wood chips along the back of the properties on
Yeah.
West Lake Road, and he was blocking the flow, and he was directed it through this guy's. So he
There's-
got the wood
I-
chips removed, and that was it.
I had a lot of complaints, when I was going door to door in that area from right about the town line on County Road 16 to about Bedford. And
Mhm.
way back behind their yards, there was a lot of flooding now by their houses.
And that one ditch that runs under West Lake, that was,
Yes.
the county,
Yes,
the county knew that culvert was shot. I mean, that thing was to the bottom, was rusted out.
That's the one that comes from Asher Place, that's
Yes.
two twin pipes.
Yep.
yes.
That house here was built in 98, so. It's probably one of the first, I'm assuming one of the first houses we built, so.
And then there's,
So you've been getting complaints from these people?
Well,
or-
One
The red
complaint.
house says, the red house has a sign out front that says 1988 on it, so
Okay,
like established in 88.
this, or maybe she's here.
That one, yeah, that one has a sign.
Maybe this is the one.
I think they built the top first and then filled it in down more. I think.
So the lady here, she's upset about the drainage comes across.
does it go into a pool?
Yeah,
I should.
There you go.
I know that, I'm not sure if Aisha did it, but I know
Water
at
all
one
that.
time they did try to, there's a swell that was put here to kind of divert it
I was
around.
gonna say, a swell or a berm.
I know
kick
they've
it down
done,
the
they've
driveway.
tried, I think it works for normal circumstances,
Yeah.
but now for,
Get a big snow melt, it's a lot of water.
so,
Get those 100-year storms every other week or something.
yeah, so.
I don't know, if
Climate
I've ever,
change.
I don't know if I've seen it though, like where it's in the summer, we had like, that's not like, that's not one like Gully Watchers.
More the.
It's the big, that's that snow melt, it's when we transition from winter to spring, we'll get a
Right
snow
now.
melt and then you'll catch a rain, it's just
Yeah,
too
well,
much,
Yesterday.
There
yeah.
were pictures in the file, it was snow chunks and ice chunks coming down Bedford.
So.
We have geese currently swimming in a puddle in my yard.
Well, you tell her the committee.
Make sure you
discussed it.
shoo them away, don't let them get
Not lots
accustomed,
of
they
town
keep
can
coming
do.
back.
Yeah, we discussed it and didn't see what we're gonna do to.
Maybe a deeper swale along that driveway, or a berm,
Yeah.
swale berm combination, to kick it down the driveway, rather.
Well, I'm just gonna,
Good deal.
myself, this is the Warner property,
Mhm,
this is the stream that gets to Menteith Gully.
mhm.
Kevin and I have been talking about this 8 or 12 acres of land here. Of trying to do this for our stormwater project. Before it gets to the lake like we've done on 5 and 20 and 32.
It's not a bad idea,
Yeah.
because Pierce Park does get kind of
Mm,
So
obliterated
this
by
is
water
collects
sometimes.
a lot of drainage, acres and acres of drainage goes to this
Is
acre.
it the bottom, the big hill there?
Yeah. So they're receptive to the idea,
That's good.
so,
They own a lot of Menteith Creek
yeah,
all over the town.
so that's something that, we'll, might be coming back to talk, they have MRB designing a stormwater facility for that area.
It'd be interesting, give us a little piece of property for the water storage tank.
$13 million.
I really like to put
Yeah.
that, well, as you know, Greg, I really want to put that right here, up on Smith
Yeah.
Road.
Yep.
At the highest point. Because then we could serve a lot of residents to the south. So, that's another story.
That plan, Kevin, a number of years ago, he had that plan, more for Sucker Brook, but there was never anything.
No.
He didn't have any design for that.
No, because
No.
we had done a big Sucker Brook study, and that's where all these projects
Yeah.
are popping
Yeah.
out of,
So we
so
still
we've
have-
never done anything for Menteith.
But we still had, we've only done what, maybe 3?
Yeah, we've done 3 of them so far, there's
Four.
another one,
For
Sucker
Sucker
Brook,
Brook.
but there's still more.
yeah, there's still
Yeah,
more,
there's still like-
so it's-
There was
Like
like-
8 or so, wasn't it altogether?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
there's one.
Years ago, Menteith was supposed to be one of the most polluting streams coming in. So that was just down.
Yeah,
on,
here's
Jewel
Hickox
Road,
21.
that big field, that's-
Um,
Right.
Oh, there's an area here, here's Bliss Road.
And that-
There was supposed to be one
Like, yeah.
These are the
in
ones
this area here. I don't recall, but here's 32,
Yeah,
21
These
parish.
are the ones the college students looked at. That was.
I don't know if these are ones that college students up there or
The whole
not.
work was.
Yeah,
I was, okay.
and then there was one that was gonna go over here. Okay, here's our highway facility.
Yep.
We were gonna do one out here.
Yeah, it was,
There's one out here, it's gotta
Is that
go.
Sucker Brook again?
Well, this goes to Sucker Brook. This is our highway facility.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And out here behind the vet's land, we had something designed out here. I don't know where that ended up yet. Kevin's waiting to get something.
I think that was more, it was very conceptual, just because it
Okay.
was, I think there's more than one property owner, right? That's involved in that
It
location.
might be. And you have the one over here on where's 32. There was one in this area here. So here's the Cox at 32. And a lot of this, there was another plan here. So, but that's with Charlie Miller. And I don't think Charlie was really excited about
So,
doing anything with his land.
Right.
Except farming.
Except farm it, exactly. That's it. So those are some areas that are still potential locations for stormwater facilities for this Sucker Brook.
Okay.
What else is out there, Terry? Anything else?
well, there was, I sent out to
Yeah.
everybody this
Sarah's.
Oh, I
community
forgot.
choice aggregation, you guys get a chance to look at that, it's a
No.
local law that we proposed for, what we did,
Can you add me to your distribution?
Hmm?
Can you add me to your email?
yeah, well. you could-
Yeah, I'm the one doing it lately, so I've been that's very.
Well.
Don't add me to your distribution.
You're giving that
They're
out,
farming.
Right.
you're giving it to court meeting to do, right?
Yeah, but you know.
Because, you get all kinds of other activities.
I know.
Sometimes it's a little
We're-
late.
We're still Courtney's still training every day, so, and we're working on getting there, we'll get there,
This
it's
is
a work in
once-
progress,
Once a month.
okay. So I told her today I got to put it on the calendar.
$5,000 signing bonus,
No.
say it one day.
So this draft it's enabling legislation to create the.
Yeah,
To do the
I
community
sent
choice.
it to you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
looked
saw, I
at
didn't
it
read
too.
on it.
I think it's worth a try,
You said-
see how it goes, you don't know,
It's kind of boilerplate stuff.
you don't know how it's gonna be received,
No.
but I think it's.
Well, the point was that, Sarah sent it out the other day asking if we could discuss it. Originally, we had this other discussion we were gonna have early. I didn't know if we'd get to it or not, so I said, well, I'll send it out ahead of time and see what happens, but. Because they want to put it on the agenda for our next town board meeting. To, look at the enabling legislation so we can move forward.
So what is it about?
That's community choice aggregation for
Oh.
electric. What it does in here, it talks about this group, Public Works, Planning and Public Works Committee being the group that would be the sponsor, if you will. So nobody had any objection, I'll just tell you that.
Yeah,
Put it on and the town board can review it. see what they want to do.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it does, if the town board approves it, where does it go then? Like, how does it get implemented?
Well, you wind up with a third party, I think, coming in to help.
Right,
They set up meetings
Does this
with
designate?
Well, that's
third party?
community.
right, and then, and eventually,
Because you guys have done this
eventually,
with other.
yeah, well, not
Not
me,
you.
someone else has, but
Yeah.
there's, then eventually you get into the the RFP process where you go out and ask the market, for proposals. And see what you guys get for the electrical rate.
We asked a question, well, when we were talking to PACT people last week, I brought this up, that how does this benefit industry or does it? And Matt Horn was there in this meeting last week. He looked at his phone now and was looking something up. He said, as long as you have 150 employees or fewer, you'd be eligible for this program. But in here, I can't remember exactly where it is in here. I didn't find any limit in, it's aimed primarily at residential customers, but Matt found someplace in the law governing the whole thing. less than 150, you'd be eligible to join into this. Or experience whatever savings could be, generated through a program like that. But, that's all details that come out later. So, but in order to keep it moving, we endorse it. That we want to the town board. So
So this doesn't name the third party, it just
No.
designates that
it just gives us the ability
to go out and
to go out,
do the RFP.
Being-
get the thing going. So
Okay.
yeah,
Like I said, you never know where it's gonna go, but I think it's worth an effort to put it out there and see if we can get some better.
In the last month, I've got more advertisement for alternative energy.
it's probably all coming from the same place. It's just different.
Well, solar farms, Inspire Clean Energy.
There's a million companies that just
Yeah.
all cropped up right now. So,
But there's not a million sources. These are just people that are.
Yeah, they're just,
Yeah.
they're brokers. That's all they are. They're brokers, right?
Well, I would be interested too if we can get some data from the city of Canandaigua on what,
Well, that,
what they put on.
Rob, what's his last name?
Rob,
Rob is
No, it was Rob,
something or other. He had his own one.
Richardson.
Yeah.
Rob Richardson.
He showed us, and he said there was about a 10% savings, so. But you don't have to belong to it, it's an app.
Yeah, it's an option.
Yeah.
See
You
how
opt
it
out, you
floats.
can opt back in.
It's often that you'll win. I know some of my electric bills, January, February, I think that's some.
Yeah, some
Derby
weird
charges.
numbers, right? I was like,
You
I
and
was
the
like, man.
entire rest of the
well, they
planet.
haven't done actual readings, they've been estimating.
But estimating, I know mine.
If you look back on the chart, it's estimations for the last 8 months.
Don't
But
try
they
to
don't
call
estimate wall, they estimate.
Well, if they look at what it was last year and they look at what
Yeah.
the temperatures were this year and.
the gas. Yeah.
Portion.
Don't
Some
try calling
people-
them.
Can't
Three
you
hours.
get the cellular
Some people
meters, right?
Rochester
So
have
like
got
us,
it.
right? So
They
they
say that. Why isn't it
They
the
get a bill for
electric company,
$6,000.
they have a guy come around and read your meter? Like our water meter, this guy drives down, you get the.
Not even that, but like you can just do it off the cell.
They're
Yeah,
I don't know.
actually planning on switching them to smart meters, is my understanding. So,
Yeah, it would just make sense.
We still, our electric meter is in the house, in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, they said,
That's strange.
no, you gotta move it to the outside, and it's okay. They said, I'll show you where to put it, it's, well, no, you gotta do it. That's right, I don't pay for it, you pay for it, fine with me. So they never.
Never come back.
They come back and read it, periodically.
Try to tease the customer to do it, right?
But not-
That's the other thing is, read your own meters and send us the information.
Been waiting for them to start being powered down. That'll come someday.
Well, there were experiments in that years ago,
Yeah.
didn't work.
Yeah.
Didn't work,
Yeah,
killed a lot of earthworms.